You've probably seen pictures of Cappadocia in Turkey, right? With all those magical-looking rock formations and hot air balloons. But what if I told you the most incredible story there isn't on the surface at all? It's actually hidden deep, deep beneath our feet. A secret that kind of redefines what we think is possible when it comes to human survival. So let's just get right to it, because this is the big question, isn't it? Why would an entire civilization, not just a few people, a whole society, choose to live 18 stories deep in the ground? To live, work, and worship completely hidden from the sun? What could possibly drive people to do that? Okay, so try to picture this. A city, but instead of skyscrapers reaching for the sky, it just plunges down, down, down into the earth. We're talking about a place with schools for the kids, churches, even stables for livestock, all of it carved out of solid rock, layer by layer, to hide thousands and thousands of people and a world without any sunlight. What's almost as wild as the city itself is that for centuries it was completely lost to history, just forgotten. And it wasn't rediscovered by some big archaeological dig. Nope, it was found completely by accident. Yep, you heard that right. The year is 1963. A local guy is just doing some renovations, decides to knock down a wall in his basement, and suddenly he's staring into this dark, mysterious tunnel. He had absolutely no idea that he had just stumbled upon the entrance to one of the greatest wonders of the ancient world. So just how big was this place? Well, this number gives you a pretty good idea. Archaeologists figure it could shelter up to 20,000 people. 20,000. And that's along with all their livestock and food. That's basically a small, modern town living completely underground. And they weren't just spread out across a wide area. No, they went down. The city plunges a staggering 18 stories deep into the earth. Just think about that for a second. That's like an inverted skyscraper. The amount of planning and sheer effort is just mind-boggling. To put some solid numbers on it, we're talking about 85 meters, or about 280 feet, straight down. This wasn't just some temporary hideout. This was a massive, deep-rooted metropolis carved out of the planet itself. And what's so brilliant is the organization of it all. This wasn't some chaotic maze of caves. The upper levels, the ones closer to the surface, that's where they kept the animals and storage. You go a little deeper, and you find the houses and the kitchens. And then at the deepest, most protected levels, that's where you find the churches and wineries. It was a city designed with incredible purpose. Which brings us to the next pretty obvious question. I mean, building it is one thing, but how did thousands of people actually live down there? How did they breathe? What did they eat and drink? How did they stay safe from anyone who might find them? Well, it turns out their survival really boiled down to 4 key areas of sheer ingenuity. We're going to look at each one: how they defended themselves, how they got fresh air, how they managed all their resources, and finally, the geological secret that made this whole thing possible in the first place. All right, let's start with defense. How do you lock down a city made of countless tunnels? Simple. You create the ultimate gate. They used these massive rolling stone doors that could only be moved from the inside. And we're not talking about your average door. These things were perfectly carved stone discs, weighing up to 1,000 pounds each. Once you rolled that sucker into place, there was basically no way an invading army could get through. It was the perfect way to seal off entire sections of the city. But, great defense doesn't matter if you can't breathe, right? And this is where their genius just blows my mind. They had a life support system. A massive 55-meter-deep central ventilation shaft served as the city's lungs, pulling fresh air all the way down to the lowest levels. And then hundreds of smaller shafts branched off from there, making sure every single room had air to breathe. And this just shows how resourceful they were. They dug deep wells for a clean water source that couldn't be poisoned from the surface. They had huge storage rooms for food, communal kitchens for everyone to use, and even places to press oil and make wine. They could be completely self-sufficient down there for a really long time. So how was this physically even possible? The secret, it turns out, was in the rock itself. This whole region is made of something called tufa, which is a soft volcanic rock. It's super easy to carve, even with simple tools. But here's the cool part. Once you expose it to air, it hardens. It was literally the perfect natural building material for a project this ambitious. So when you look at all this planning, this incredible engineering, this sheer hard work, you have to ask yourself, why?
This wasn't built for fun or for comfort. This was a fortress built against one single powerful emotion: fear.
So you have to understand, Cappadocia's location made it a historical crossroads, which is a nice way of saying it was constantly being invaded. For centuries, it was one conflict after another, from ancient empires like the Hittites and Persians to a refuge for early Christians fleeing the Romans to the long and brutal Arab-Byzantine wars. The surface world was just not a safe place to be. This really sums up the choice they had to make. Life up on the surface meant you were exposed, you were vulnerable. But life underground, that offered security. It let them do more than just hide from an army for a few weeks. It let them preserve their entire way of life, their culture, their families, until the danger passed. It was a permanent solution to a constant threat. So, what does this incredible underground city really mean for us today? It's way more than just a cool archaeological site. It's a profound story about the human spirit. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? Derinkuyu is a monument to resilience. It's this powerful, almost haunting reminder of the extraordinary things people will do to protect themselves and their way of life, to survive against odds that must have felt absolutely impossible. In the end, a place like this kind of forces you to look at the world a little differently. It shows us that some of history's greatest stories, some of humanity's most amazing achievements, aren't found by looking up at the sky. Sometimes you have to look deep within the earth. Derinkuyu is just one of these incredible ancient mysteries that really make you think. It makes you wonder, what else is out there, hidden just beneath our feet, waiting to be rediscovered? So, I have to ask you, what ancient mystery do you think we should explore next?